Why is everybody so somber? This is supposed to be like a positive moment in things. So, Jack, thank you very much. And I'm delighted to be here today to be able to formally endorse Jack Kingston for United States Senate. And, you know, over the course of campaigns, what I observed over the past year and having run statewide before is that you get the opportunity to really get to know your opponents, and that certainly was the case over the past year that we were all campaigning together. This was a campaign in which really for a large part we didn't know one another particularly well. We knew each other in passing, and I think that was probably the case for me anyway with most of the candidates in the race. And so it was an extremely unique opportunity to get to know people, frankly, at some of their best moments and also in some of their worst moments. And throughout the campaign, what I observed about Jack Kingston was this, that he is a man of extraordinary integrity. He is fiercely committed to the conservative principles that are the foundation of the Republican Party and the conservative principles that I believe in and that I want to see go forward in this country. He has represented the 1st Congressional District with honor and great effectiveness. And as we all look, and for voters, as we look at this runoff and the two candidates that are advancing, we have a couple of decisions that we have to make. And I would urge and encourage voters to consider the following. First, I think it's fair to say that the voters of the 1st Congressional District gave Jack Kingston an extraordinarily positive job performance rating in that 74% of them voted for him to be their candidate for United States Senate. And that, to me, speaks volumes about the kind of congressman that he has been and the access that he has given to the people of the 1st Congressional District. And then the other things I think to consider is that now, with the challenges that our country is facing, now more than ever, we need a workhorse and not a show horse. We need someone who is going to be a consistent conservative, not someone who flails all over the place and flip-flops about what their viewpoints are, but someone who is going to be consistent in their views and consistent in representing the people of this state. And we need a United States Senator who believes in the American dream for everyone. We need a person of substance, a person who has the depth of knowledge on the complex issues that we're going to be facing in this country over the next couple of years, someone who has the experience to be able to hit the ground running. And it is my belief, and I have great confidence in the fact, that that individual is Jack Kingston. And so I urge everyone to, as you look to the July 22nd primary, I ask my supporters, I ask the rest of the folks who are going to vote in that GOP primary to vote for Jack Kingston so that we can have a consistent, effective conservative representing us come November. Thank y'all very much.
Karen, thank you.
You're welcome.
Karen, let me say this. I accept with great enthusiasm your endorsement.
Well, that's a good thing. I was hoping you weren't going to reject it.
It was not up for discussion, I can tell you that.
I'm teasing you.
But I truly appreciate it. I appreciate your friendship. I also am accompanied today by my son, Jim Kingston, who has been with us every step of the way, as has your husband, Steve. And I want to acknowledge our friendship, family to family, from Libby to me, and you and Steve. And Steve, I just appreciate being on the campaign trail with you. There were many a times that you were waving the flag, and just as Jim and my wife Libby have done for me. I believe truly politics is a family sport as well as a team sport, and the Handel team is truly a great one. You know, Karen Handel has overcome many obstacles to get to where she is. Yet she has achieved the American dream in such a real sense. She's earned every step that she has taken because she has absolutely never given up. And as a result, became Georgia's first Republican Secretary of State and one of the great opinion leaders in the state of Georgia, one of the great political leaders, one of the great women leaders, and one of the great conservative leaders. I'm proud to have her as a friend. We have been on the same side on many occasions, and on other occasions we have been on opposite side. But her achievement and her ownership in the American dream should never be dismissed and never should be belittled because I see an American success story when I see Karen Handel. She and I came up through the precinct level as Republicans. We have stuffed envelopes. We have made phone calls. We have put up yard signs, not just signs and letters that had our names on it, but those that had other Republicans' names on it. We have voted in the Republican primaries and have been in the Republican trenches for many years, fighting for the conservative side. I am running for the U.S. Senate for the same reasons that Karen ran for the U.S. Senate, to make sure that the American dream is there for the next generation. We believe that together we will be able to have victory, not just in July, but victory in November, and not just take back the U.S. Senate, but take back the greatest part of America, and that is passing the legacy of the American dream down to the next generation. Karen, thank you very much.
I look forward to working with you. Thanks. All right.
You know, we would like to get Karen in the campaign at whatever level that she is comfortable with and whatever level she's willing to take. Karen has a great political mastermind and can open lots of doors for us, as well as tell us how to get in there, the doors that aren't open for us. So we are, taking this one step at a time, but we're very excited. And I don't know if she wants to volunteer for anything or not.
You've said it well, although I've never been called a mastermind before. So, yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Again, because I am looking for consistency, an individual who has a track record of being a conservative, a track record of being a Republican.
The high school remark seems to have reverberated, based on what you just said. Is that the case?
I think that's part of something that happened in the past, but it's not the reason for the endorsement by any stretch of the imagination.
I think we have to have a U.S. Senator that welcomes everybody's support and that people feel comfortable with. And, I think in a greater sense, what Karen Handel and I represent is an open door, the public part of public servants, so that people can come up and everybody's welcome to get on board.
What about the whole issue of the outsider? Obviously, he's an outsider. Karen, you were running on being an outsider. So why are you thinking things different now?
Well, first of all, I'm not even sure what that really means, quote, outsider. Secondly, I'm pretty sure I never used that in my campaign. I think that most what we have to look at as Georgians is who can go to Washington. Two things, and I said it in my own campaign: who can be effective and who can win in November. And I believe that those two questions are best answered and best served by Jack Kingston, and that the people of our state will be best served by Jack Kingston.
But you subject to effectiveness, though, you were critical of Congressman Kingston during the campaign for all of his years of service and the state of Washington.
Sure. Look, I don't think that the congressman can run away from the fact that he has served there 20 years. But I think something that we should all really put a lot of credit into is the fact that the people of his congressional district, whom he has served for 20 years, 74% of them voted for him to be their United States Senator. And for me, and I hope for a lot of Georgians, that speaks volumes to them, because that is one outstanding job performance rating.
You had said sending people up there to stay 20 years in the House, where they just said they'll keep the seat warm, waiting for another seat to open up, is just stupid. The people who are there have been there so long that dysfunction, they don't see it as normal to them. Do you still feel that way? And how do you walk back those types of words?
Well, first of all, that's in the past, and I would argue that if I were standing here endorsing David Perdue, he would have a different story to tell. This today is about Jack Kingston, and one thing that I'm impressed with is the fact that when we discussed what kind of senator he was going to be, it's no secret that I believe very strongly in term limits, and Jack has eagerly embraced that, and I think that says a lot about him and the kind of senator he wants to be able to go to the U.S. Senate with an extraordinary sense of urgency to really move forward on the things that we need to get done for this country. The second thing is, being able to hit the ground running, having some political experience, I believe is important. And I've said that multiple times as well on the campaign trail, because going to the U.S. Senate, you are not the CEO of the other 99. You need to have that skill set of being able to move people who aren't like-minded, and I believe that Jack will be able to do that in a far better way than the other candidate in this. Yeah.
You mentioned the 74% a couple of times that Congressman Kingston was able to work his district, and you did much better than he did in Metro Atlanta. Is that why you expect to maybe be the most helpful in?
I don't know if I'll be able to be helpful or not. I'll try to be. But what I wanted to do here today was to say where my vote was going to go on July 22nd, and that's first and foremost what we were focused on. And then I'll do my level best to be helpful with people who might think that my opinion matters some or not.
Speaking from my standpoint, I'm delighted because she absolutely is a force in North Georgia, but also all over Georgia. Karen Handel is a well-known entity. And Lori, to get back to your question, we're fighters. We have been in this cause for a long time. We want it done yesterday. And sometimes you don't get the results that you want, particularly in today's political environment. But the fact is, Karen Handel and I, for 20, 25 years, have been stuffing envelopes, putting up yard signs, helping sheriffs, helping county commissioners. We've been soldiers fighting for the conservative cause. We did not get airdropped into a U.S. Senate race. This was a progression of many years trying to persuade Georgia voters that the conservative vision is the better one for more personal freedom.
And one thing I'll add to that is, I think, and I was guilty of this at the beginning of this campaign, as I said at the beginning of this, that I didn't know you particularly well. And Jack has a reputation for being extremely laid back. And I think that some misperceptions can be generated from that. And I would submit that anyone who would make the mistake of viewing a laid-back style as a lack of tenacity for solving problems would be in gross error.
Jack, you're kind of in the middle of pulling off a pretty good backtrack here. You've got the U.S. Chamber of Commerce laying down $500,000 for you just in the next few weeks, and yet you're also picking up Tea Party support, and they're not best friends. So how do you walk that line between the two?
The best thing in the world for Harry Reid, Michelle Nunn, and Nancy Pelosi would be a divided conservative family. Karen and I are not going to let that happen. We're going to bring together people who want to reform government, people who want to cut spending, people who want more jobs and a strong national security. And we believe that that message will unite the conservative family. So one of the things that she and I have talked about many times in the last month is that this is a family discussion, and we've got to stay united.
Can we touch on this, so-called war on women, because we know that's probably going to be a theme heading into November. There might be several female voters, how important they are in Georgia, that are pretty, ticked off, Karen, you can win. And how do you get those voters back and not going over to the no campaign?
What I have found with female voters is they're interested in opportunities, they're interested in jobs, they're interested in common sense in the government, a healthcare system that works, personal freedom, and that's all part of the message that Karen and I together have been working on. So we believe that a unified front on the issues that matter is what voters are going to listen to regardless of their gender.
I think also that women will look at who Jack surrounds himself with as we go forward. And look, let's be candid, not a single woman at the federal level and in the big races advanced. That is an issue that the GOP needs to work on and address in a productive way. And I'm confident that Jack and I will be able to work together on that, and that Jack is going to ensure that for his campaign leading into November, and then as United States Senator, that he will have women in key roles, that he will be a supporter of women down the road who choose to run for office, so that we can have more diversity in these big roles for women in the GOP.
Representative, what is your strategy
Well, we're going to be talking about the issues, just as he certainly has the right to discuss my voting record. It's a matter of public record. It's a matter of history. But so is his business record. So are some of the flip-flops that he has made during this campaign. And I think that an issues-based discussion on those things is relevant. But I also want to talk about my idea for a contract with America. And this is something in which Karen and I found further agreement, is that we need to have a vision. It's not good enough just to take the majority in the Senate. We have to change the status quo. We have to change the course of America. And I have talked about bringing back a contract, one that talks about strong national defense, fiscal responsibility, and job creation through the private sector, something that appeals not just to Republican Party members, but to Tea Party, but to Chamber of Commerce, but also to common sense swing voters. And I think that's what we want to be discussing as much as anything.
All right, with that, thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you
y'all
very
so much.
Appreciate it.